Good morning. So Google gave me a warning, and then they gave me a strike for the next week for the same video. And so I'm in a state of misunderstanding this whole misinformation. I'm asking, like, how does this work? Like, I really have no idea. And to back up, like, the reason I got on Google and it was a huge fan is they made a great product. Back in the day, before Google, the search was like these portals, and they were all just like clunky and trying to force all this crap, and they sucked at their primary goal, which was search. And then Google came along and just was like simple, like super basic, and I could find what I wanted to find. I was like, boom, I'm all in. And then when 9/11 hit, and the Google News, I think, was still in beta, but like could actually get like real-time news, just search and get like unfiltered. It was like when something happened, it was just straight the facts, and then could see the story evolve over time, and the spin meisters and all the, the various angles would start to change. And so it was really cool to feel like empowered and be able to actually get the facts, like before they get filtered through a bunch of different agendas and stuff. And so it was like, I saw Google as the great liberator. They were like giving the world tools. When Chrome, the browser, came out, it was like a breath of fresh air. Like Microsoft and Internet Explorer, it was so like stifling, and they were, they were doing their monopoly thing of trying to like force people into this box and to force people to browse and experience the internet in a certain way, and just like trying to leverage the OS. People forced into Internet Explorer even though they didn't want to use it. And so like Chrome was this great, like, oh wow, I don't have to like do this. I'm free. I can actually like browse and go on the internet the way I want to, and stuff actually works, and I don't have to download all this stuff and ActiveX or whatever, all that, it was like great. And Gmail, same thing. It was like spam was this huge problem. And all of a sudden Gmail comes along and fixes it. I can actually send email and not have an inbox clog with a bunch of garbage, a bunch of spam and all this nonsense. And I even moved my business account onto their mail service, and boom, all of a sudden I don't have spam, and I can actually send mails and they get through. Like other servers aren't blocking it because, hackers and spoofers and all that. It was great. Like killer products, like awesome. Like this is amazing. And YouTube, like this great liberation of information and media. We don't need like $1 billion to start a news company or a network, or have to get a license from the FCC and all that. You can just shoot a video with any old camera, upload it, and it can reach the entire world, like share information and connect. And they did it in a way that it wasn't like completely overloaded with spam and ads like Daily Motion and other stuff. And it was like actually, affordable. You could upload a certain amount and didn't have to cost an arm and a leg. And, they figured it out. It was great. That's why they took off, and why so many people are on YouTube, became the standard. And now it's like, what happened? Like what happened to liberation? What happened to freedom and speech and trying to empower people with great tools? Have they become the new Microsoft? Like I'm confused. I don't understand like what the deal is, and like why, like what, So I uploaded a video talking about medical stuff, and they said, oh, we're going to give you a warning. And so I read through the warning and their policy on medical misinformation. I was like, I couldn't find anything that I did. I was like, I didn't like do that stuff. The only thing was maybe, they referred to the government guidelines. So maybe questioning or being critical of the government guidelines isn't allowed anymore. I don't know. And then there's like election information, misinformation, can't talk about elections anymore. And now it's like war misinformation. People that had interviewed anything Russian or Putin or whatever, and their videos are getting pulled or their channels are canceled. Like what? Who's next? Like who's safe? Like what are the rules? Like I don't know. I actually, when I appealed the warning, I was like, what's going on? I read the policy. I don't see anything. And then they gave me a strike on the same video, and I'm like, isn't the point of a warning that you give me a warning? How do I get two strikes or 2 knocks on the same thing that's already been removed? Like I don't even understand the policy. Like what? Like it's like the first email was a lie or something, or just like bait, and then they changed their mind, or I'm like, it's so confusing. And when I appealed the strike, I was like, can you explain this to me? I don't understand it. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like what's the point of a warning if you then hit me harder with the same thing? Like isn't the point of a warning like, okay, you did it once, the video's down, now we'll see what else you upload, So I'm like baffled. I don't even understand the policy. And for me, it just seems the message is, they don't want me on their channel, or they don't want me to speak my mind. They just want me to like make cat videos or just surfing or whatever, stick to whatever they consider safe. But then, what, if there's some war on surfboards, is all my surf videos going to be banned? If I say something about that and then 10 years later, are there some dispute with foam companies or, who knows? Like, I don't know when the next misinformation label is going to be applied to something I talked about 10 years ago. I mean, who knows? It's like, where's the liberation? Where's the freedom? Where's the whole don't be evil thing? Like, what happened? Where'd it go? My hope is that they would come out and say, okay, here's what we're doing, super transparent, and or apologize. Hey, the way we've been going, it's not good for anyone. We're going to go back to total freedom and, the anarchy type thing where you can just, we trust people to discern and decide on their own. Anybody can upload whatever they want and we'll just let people figure it out. I would prefer that to a system of, censorship and top down kind of deciding for me what's good for me, that kind of thing. The problem with the current policy is I don't know what's safe. I don't know what I can and cannot upload without getting hit. What's going to give me the next strike? I don't know. I really don't. Is it because my channel's small and they can just push me around? Or, like Russell Brand and all these other bigger channels, I see them talking about medical stuff all the time and they don't get banned. Is it just because they're big and if they were to ban them or censor them that it would make news and it'd be a big uproar? And, is that why? Is it just because I'm a little tiny channel right now, they can just swap me and nobody will even notice? Is that, I don't know. I don't have answers. That's the problem. So, but it puts me in the position where it doesn't feel fun to like create content and put it somewhere where I'm in limbo, or I know it might get, banned, but I have no idea why. Are they going to continue to like become the next Microsoft where they're trying to kill the competition and squash, Odyssey or all the other things? And like DuckDuckGo just announced they're going to start squashing stuff, and Discord and all that, so like, where does it go? Where does it end? Where's the place to go? I've heard other sites that have lost their rankings on Google because they were labeled medical sites. I don't understand. I would like to understand. Maybe on like a bigger level, like one of the only reasons I'm online is because I have a hard time finding people around me locally who share my beliefs or my values. I'm in California, in the Bay Area. It's a very unique place, and a lot of people think the same way and more in line with civilization and not so much with being wild or the old ways, traditional, like hunting and fishing and getting together and, drum circles, whatever it is, or, by the fire every night. Like most people here would rather stare at a screen and do that kind of thing. It seems like that trend is escalating, I would reach out locally, but how? So it's one of those like chicken and egg and don't know where to go with it. And the reason I went online, really, initially, it was to try to bring people together, to try to share the wisdom that had been entrusted and shared with me and pass it along and try to spread it far and wide. And hopefully we can return to some sanity, some sense making and coming back together and taking care of each other and loving each other and more towards listening, like, there's no point in talking if we're not doing the other half of it, which is listening, One person or one group or the powerful people having a voice, but the unpowerful not being able to talk like that doesn't work, That's a recipe for disaster. So, yeah, I hope this helps. And if you have any answers, please post, let me know. Like, I'm curious, or what to do, what's the next step or what's the alternative or how do we get out of this mess or figure out a way where everyone is welcome, where everyone's voice is heard, invited, encouraged, and instead of discouraging people from speaking up, we actually welcome, like, I want to hear, like, I'm not threatened by what you have to say. I can listen. I can actually hear your words and it's not a threat to me. I can actually listen and you'll feel heard and we'll both feel heard. And from there, there's a chance for peace and harmony. Yeah, so thanks.